Right guys, coming back with a new video today. This is my second video of the day. I just uploaded my my day trading video from earlier on, so if we can just, I'll quickly show you it, just tell you the reason why I'm doing another video. Purely because of the I'm just so happy with the quality of the video. If we go to, you can just see the quality of the video. You know, the pixels, the quality is just perfect. So when I see my videos that they look good, they sound a lot better because of my upgraded system, it makes me want to produce more videos. I get more motivated. I mean, if we look at this video for a comparison, and then if we go back to one of my old videos where I was using my Mac, if we go on to the day where I made like nearly $600, like, look at the video. I mean, look how poor the video. This one isn't as bad. This one's not as bad, but the one where I traded SLNO, I mean, this is just terrible. I mean, my screen doesn't look too bad because I've got a 27-inch screen, but if you look at this on your iPhone or on your mobile, it just looks terrible. So you know, the new screen, the new tower, the new computer, the new setup has just made me so much more motivated. So the reason I'm doing this video is just, like I say, I've got content I want to put out, but it's just being motivated to put it out, and having the setup is very hard. You know, there's a lot that goes into it. You know, you've got to have all the Sony Vegas, you got to have a recording program, you got to have a, you know, Audacity I use for my Audacity I use for my audio, to edit my audio, and then Sony Vegas I use for my video editing. So I obviously have to, that's two programs straight away, and then I have OBS to record my actual screen, which I'm using now. And then obviously I've got my Blue Yeti microphone, which is all set up with my mic. So now I have my setup, now I feel comfortable. I'm going to go through some stuff, and I want to talk to you about my day trading strategy. You know, because the reason I'm doing this is because I'm watching a couple of people on YouTube, and I'm surprised they are actually making money because they have no plan. They literally are gambling. And I mean, what's the famous quote that I have? You know, gamblers think about profits, traders think about risk. You know, a real trader thinks about risk and how much is he going to risk per trade. So I don't know, I just see these people on YouTube making some money, and they're not even planning the trade. They've not got any moving averages. They've not got any trend lines. They're just literally guessing. They're like, oh, okay, this probably might go up in a minute. If not, I'll take a $200 loss to try and make $250. I'm like, that is just terrible. I can't believe you are even on YouTube making videos. But I don't know, it might be me, but I just feel like you have to have a plan. So I am going to go through some of my Excel sheets that I've created. So I made this Excel sheet today. This one here, this is with my this has got it includes my profit loss ratios, which you can see here. So I was reading Ross Cameron's How to Day Trade book, which came about last week. I've read all that today. Well, I read like half of it last week, and I've read the last half today. It's a book I'm going to constantly keep going over. The amount of pages I highlighted and pages I turned over was quite a lot. It's right next to me, so I'm keeping that on hand at all times. But one thing I took from him was profit loss ratio. So these are some profit loss ratios that I've got. So like 2 to 1, you're risking 50% or $50 to make $100. So that's basically just a 2 to 1 ratio. And then you have the 1.5 to 1, which is basically risk 2% to make 3%. So in monetary terms, or in money terms, to make it more easier, risk $60 to make $90, or conversely risk $120 to make $180, which is obviously just double, but just to give you a bit more of a easier way of understanding the ratio. And then same with the 2 to 1, risk 60 to make 120, risk 120 to make 140. And then a 2.5 to 1 ratio is basically risk 2% of your portfolio risk 2% of your trade to make 5% on that trade. So for example, if you have $1,000 at risk, well actually we can do it right here. So if you have $1,000, and this is all interconnected, this sheet. So if you have $1,000 and let's say you buy a stock for $4, okay? So your profit loss ratio here, if we're going for a 2.5 to 1, my percentage, let's say I'm going to risk 2%. So if I go on equals 2% and I'm going to equals 5%, so basically I'm risking $20 to make 50, and then my ratio is 2.5 to 1. Obviously this can increase. For example, if you change this to 3,000, then you are now risking $60 to make 150, which is quite a reasonable trade. To be honest, these are the trades that I go through quite a lot. I do sometimes go below $100 on my risk, but I end up making about 180 to 190, sometimes more, sometimes less. But these can change, say if you want to make this 2%, you click the 2% and then you equals you can equals the 4%, and then this will change now to from 2.5 to 1 to 2.1, as you can see here. So basically this calculation here, which I've inputted, works out the ratio for every time I put something in. So if I change this to let's say 4%, it'll say I've got a 1.1 to 1 ratio, which basically you're risking 4% to make 4%, which is terrible. You don't ever really want to be doing that. But if you change this to 8%, then now you've got a 2 to 1 ratio, so you're risking 120 to make 240. So, and then you can see here I've got this was from Ross's book, a little quote he put down here. So risk 2.1 ratio, every trade I take has the potential of 2 times the risk. So my profit to loss ratio, I can be profitable with only a 50% success rate. So every trade I take has the potential of 2 times the profit of 2 times the risk. If the risk is 50, my profit is obviously 100. So this is just some of the stuff that goes on the background that I'm just not seeing people go through, and it's just, I don't know, they may have these, but I was listening to some guy who said he doesn't even track, he doesn't even have a journal, he doesn't even track his trades, he doesn't even do any Excel sheets or anything. I mean, fair play if you can do it like that, but I won't be able to trade without having to, methodically track it. So, and then down here you can see if I put my entry price for $4, it'll automatically tell me how many shares I can buy, which is quite useful for when I'm in trade. So for example, if I'm going to get into a trade right now, and I can see, let's go on to, so this stock here, so GLMD, I can see GLMD 12.95 into the buy price or the entry price. It'll tell me how many shares I can buy. If I change my capital to 10,000, then it'll say how many shares I can buy. So if I have my sell price for, let's say, 13.60, it'll tell me I make 4.9% on that trade, and then the profit will be 493, which is basically 4.5%, or let's do it in here. So this equals, so you were to go equals 4.9% times 10,000. Which is obviously, that's the same as that. So this is how I've done the Excel sheet. So it's fairly easy. Just once you've done it, it's set obviously, but it's not that hard to actually do. It just takes a little bit of thinking. But once you've done it, it's fairly easy. Like I say, if you're working out the shares, it's just going to be literally equals your capital and then divided by the share price. So capital divided by share price, it tells you how many shares you can buy, and then every time you change the number of so if you change this to 5, the shares will now go up. So once you've done it, it's set in stone really. So you buy at 5, you sell at 5.50. That's obviously a 10% gain. It works out 10% of 10,000 is 1,000. Works out your profit. So this is pretty cool. This is one of my sheets, and then this is another working out the percentage, which is basically like the other sheet. But for example, if I'm buying in at $5 this will tell me each one, so from 1% all the way to basically 16%, and it will tell me the price to sell at. So if I just want to know quickly, I buy in at 4, and this changes. So if I change this to 4, all of these will change to 4. If I change this to 2000, all of those will change to 2000. So I buy in at 4. I want to make 4%. Well, 4% is down here, so basically I need to sell at 416. So I need to sell at 416 to make 4%. Well, how much profit will that be? That'd be $80. And then I know mentally I don't really want to be losing any more than $30 to $40 on this trade, which would be 2 to 1. So risk 40 to make 80. Then my stop losses are down here. So basically, if my stop loss is, if I'm buying in at $4 and I want my sell price to be 416, my stop loss would be around here. So my stop loss will always be half. So for example, if I want a 6% gain, my stop loss will be at the 3%. So I buy at 4, I'm going to try to sell at 424 with a stop loss of 388. So once you've got these figures, and this is really easy. I mean, all you have to do is literally do this little section here, and then you can just drag these down, and you got to drag these down, and this will all work it out for you. So 1%, basically just write in 1% all the way to 16%. And then the 20% profit is basically the 1% of the 2000, which is your capital. Like I said, if you change this, everything will change. So it's pretty cool. So this is one of the sheets. Like I said, this is the one I did today. This is kind of basically like the other one, but this is more just for my for my stop losses and my sell price. This is just like this is what I first made, and then I've kind of like made them up, I've advanced them a little bit. And this is basically an after trade calculation. So say if I just made a trade really quick, but I didn't work it out, I just did it really quickly, like in a minute or 2 minutes, then I can just work out. So I say, okay, well, I brought at 689.87, and let's say I sold at $9. I just want to know how much I made. I made 31% on that trade. And then let's say I had $500. So my shares need to be divided like this. So my shares would equal 500 divided by the price. So 73 shares, 150. So this is what I'm saying. You see, you can make $155, which is 33% of your capital on a trade like this, which happens quite a lot. I mean, we had a stock the other day that went from $2 to $6, which is obviously a 200% gain. So you risk, you're putting in $500 to get 1,000. Now, obviously, that would be a very hard trend to actually catch and execute. But I'm just, hypothetically speaking, it's not really hypothetically, because that actually did happen. But for you to actually go ahead and do that would be very hard to, get the low and sell at the high. Is very hard. And then this is my trade database. This looks really confusing, but it's actually not that hard. It's just once you've done 2 lines, you can do like the whole sheet. So once you've done the first calculations, it's basically just copying it for the next one. So this is like day 1, day 2, day 3, day 4, day 5, day 6. I need to fill in day 7. I haven't filled in day 7 yet, but basically as soon as I type in my figures, all these will change. So if I, for example, if I put in if I put in 900 shares, this will change to, so if I put in, let's say, 1,000 shares and I buy in at $4, obviously my margin will be 4,000. My capital per trade will be 666 because I'm using 6 to 1 margin. So the margin size divided by 6 basically. So if you do margin divide by 6, you should get 666. Yeah, so that's how I've calculated it, you see. So my margin is always 6 to 1, so my margin size should be 6 to 1, so that's why my capital per trade is that. I mean, it won't always be 6 to 1, it might be like 4 to 1, but I just use this as like a rough idea. But this is basically the trade size, even though it says margin size, it's basically my trade size. So if I type in how many shares I got, 600 shares, I paid $4, I sold at 480. That's a 20% gain. Profit per trade is 480. And then my commissions, I manually input my commissions because my commissions can be different, because I could enter it multiple times, I could exit it multiple times, so I don't, my trades are 195 per trade, but I don't know how many trades I'm going to make, so I always just input this manually at the bottom. So if I put in, let's say $12 here, and then basically I can equal my, normally, just to show you, normally I would add these up like this, because these aren't filled, it's not going to work. But basically, if you auto sum, well, I'll just show you an example. So auto sum, that gives you the total. So basically, that would add up all these, and that's a minus 46 plus the commissions. Basically, I was down at $72 for that day. So this, for example, would be, if we was going to just do it quickly, it would be basically 480 minus the commissions, and that works out straight away. So that would be 480 minus the 12 equals 468. That's how I've done that. So yeah, this was my, like I say, day 1 to day 6. I haven't added day 7 yet, but day 1 was $29, day 2 was $532. This is net profit after the commissions, and then minus 74, 166, 360, minus 72, and then day 7 was actually minus 75 as well. So this is another sheet that I made. This is basically like a really hypothetical, motivational Excel sheet. This includes no losses, although I have actually got an Excel sheet that does include losses, so it's not like I haven't done it on purpose. But this just shows from trade 1 all the way to trade 100, and this is with a capital of $500 with a 6-to-1 margin, with a 2% profit per trade all the way till, I think, from first trade to the 14th trade, and then 1% from then on. So 2% of 3,000 equals 60, and then 60 at the 3,000 is 3,060 minus commissions, which is just a hypothetical abstract number, $10 equals profit of $50. 50, add your starting capital of 50 is 550, drag the 550 onto the next trade, times it by 6 gives you 3,300, 2% of 3,300 is 66, minus the £10 commissions equals 56, and as you can see, if you keep doing this, your end figure after 100 trades is 276,000, which is incredible. But like I say, this includes no losses, so it's very abstract and very unlikely. I even say here, so a loss, 3 losses every 10 days would be a 70%. So if you've got 3 days out there, 7 days, you win 7 days out of 10. Obviously 7 over 10 is a 70% win to loss ratio, meaning you lose every 3 trades in a 10-day period. So you could win 2, lose 1, win 3, lose 1, and then win 2, lose 1, or however you want to structure it. You can do that in here. I mean, all you have to do is just type in your loss. So you could be minus 2, and then that's 3 days, and then an extra 3 days you could say minus 2, and you could add that in and you calculate it. So you can do it, and I do have a sheet for that as well. But this is just
hypothetical. $500 starting amount with a 2% win lot. I mean, you could even change this to 1% and then drag this down all the way. So even if you just win 1% each trade for 100 trades, you could turn a 500 starting amount all the way to 106,000. Like I say, this is including no losses, so just take this with a pinch of salt. This is just for me, giving me some motivation. You don't really need to pay too much attention to that, but I was just kind of showing you this is what you do need to kind of keep in mind. Plan your trades, keep it methodical, have a plan. When you have a plan, you feel better. You feel more structured. I think it's really important to have a plan. It's definitely important to plan your trades. It's definitely important to be knowing how much you're risking per trade to how much you make, your win to loss ratio. Definitely important to calculate your on this one, on your the percentage. So like I say, if you're buying $1,000 worth, you're buying at 5, you want to know how much you're selling it for, then you need to work out the percentage. Like I say, if you're buying here, this will tell you from 1% all the way to 16.
So if the stock's up $5.20, you know you're at 4%, which you know how much you're up percentage profit wise. So I just think it's good to have. But I think that's going to be the end of this video. I just wanted to kind of show you my Excel sheets and kind of my way of working things out, just to give you guys a bit of help and basically show you what I do behind the scenes, and also to help you if you want to copy these sheets. I mean, they're fairly easy once you've got them sorted. Like I say, once you've done it, everything kind of just works. All you have to do is basically just change figures, and once you've got it done, you're basically sorted. But I definitely recommend tracking your trades, because you get to see, and this is what I will be doing on my what I will be doing on this one is I will be importing all my charts. So a picture with before I entered the trade and then after I entered the trade. I have already been doing that with if you go onto here, I have already been doing it on some days. So like, for example, I will have a picture of before I entered the trade, for example here, with some like notations. So I've got like on here, I've got my day 7, I've got my minus $77. So if I can fill all this up with like 100 trades, and I can start seeing what days I lost, how much I lost, because if I can see that I'm averaging out $70 a day, then I can say, right, okay, I'm not going to lose any more than 70. If I lose more than $70 a day, that's kind of going to be like my cut-off date, my cut-off amount. And then I can also look at, what trades I'm losing on. Maybe there's a strategy that I'm just failing at each time and I need to improve it, and maybe I shouldn't trade that strategy, because if I keep failing on, let's say, I don't know, a reversal or a gap and go, or I'm buying in too early or I'm buying in too late, documentation will help me figure this out. So this is why I think it's important. But like I said, this is going to be the end of the video now, so I appreciate you watching the video and spending the time to watch it. If you've found the video informative or enjoyed it, or found any of the information valuable, please give it a thumbs up, and subscribe to the channel if you haven't already. And if you have any questions, leave them in the comment section below. I will reply to them. And if you want to follow me on social media, all my links are in the description below. So thank you for watching, and I will see you guys in the next video.